When thinking about child labor laws, it's easy to think about them in terms of teens working at places like McDonald's, a grocery store, a coffee shop, etc. But people don't often think about child labor laws in the era of kidfluencers, or underage people who make money after being exploited on the internet or on television. This is becoming a larger and more prevalent problem now that more and more kids are growing up in the eye of the media. By now, many people have heard of the trauma that iCarly star Jeanette McCurdy experienced as a result of being a child star. If you haven't, here's a quick synopsis. In McCurdy's memoir, I'm Glad My Mom Died, she discussed the traumatic events in her childhood because of being a child star and the pressures her mom ensued on her. The memoir also recounts the behavior of the creator of the shows McCurdy was on. Tom Tapp's Deadline article called Jeanette McCurdy Alleges Abusive Behavior on Sets of Nickelodeon's iCarly and Sam and Cat states, she also writes about someone she calls the creator in relation to her time on the Nick shows. She says that he was mean-spirited, controlling, and terrifying, and prone to making grown men and women cry with his insults and degradation. Do we want this to keep happening? Obviously not. No one should ever have to experience traumatic events, nonetheless have to experience them as a child. So aren't there more protections for children in the industry? There currently are some labor laws protecting children in the acting industry, but these laws fall short of protecting children in the social media industry. Marina Masterson outlined the timeline of child labor protections in the United States in her academic article called When Play Becomes Work, Child Labor Laws in the Era of Kidfluencers. In the early 1900s, child labor was prevalent in most families, as it was the only way the family could financially support themselves. By the early 1930s, the Fair Labor Standards Act was passed. This act banned oppressive child labor. However, this act excluded child acting, as it was considered an opportunity to develop talents. The Fair Labor Standards Act also exempts children employed by their parents from protections, thus, kidfluencers are not protected. In 1939, California enacted the Coogan Laws, making it a requirement for 15% of the minors' acting wages to be deposited into a blocked trust until they are 18. However, as you might expect, since these laws were made before the existence of social media, the protections do not cover child social media influencers. Financial protections are also not enough when protecting these kidfluencers. These children need to be protected mentally and emotionally. In an academic article called They're Just Playing, Why Child Social Media Stars Need Enhanced Coogan Protections, author Nyla McGinnis proposes that, quote, states should start by publishing guidelines on working hours, conditions, breaks, educational requirements, and production conditions. It's clear that just having financial protections isn't enough. In the case of Jeanette McCurdy, her working conditions clearly weren't positive, leading to the lack of her mental well-being. There seems to be a common theme of parents exploiting their children in the media without even giving their child an opportunity to choose whether or not to have that life. In an academic article called Children in Reality TV, Comparative and International Perspectives, author Benjamin Shmuley states, quote, the parents themselves often ruin a child's independence because they do not allow them to develop and decide for themselves how they appear before others. Let's dive into this and how some reality stars are breaking this cycle with their own children. When you think about reality TV shows and famous kids, the Kardashians are probably at the front of your mind. Ever since the first Kardashian grandchild was born, the media was quick to discuss the parenting of the Kardashians. For the sake of simplicity, we are going to dive into the parenting of Kim specifically. Kim has 4 kids, the oldest Northwest. North is 9 years old and, like most 9-year-olds, wants to express her creativity. If you have spent any time scrolling on TikTok, you have probably come across one of North's TikToks.
I put this soda up, and I jump 'em, cause I don't care. I don't care.
North and Kim's shared TikTok account currently has 10 million followers. In Carly Stern's article for The Sun, written on August 7, 2022, Stern discusses the parenting of Kim Kardashian. Stern writes that Kim allows her kids to express their creativity, and social media is a way for them to do that. However, their social media use is supervised. As Kim grew up in the media, she is aware of how dangerous it can be for children. Thus, she supervises North's usage of social media. If you take a look at their shared account, you will also notice that the comments are disabled on their posts. This further protects North. As we come across parents who experienced growing up in the public eye themselves, we notice that they protect their children more. Perhaps this makes it clear to see that child social media stars need further protections. Parents may not understand the dangers of their children growing up famous if they didn't experience it themselves. Maybe you think that the Coogan laws are enough, and that kidfluencers are making enough money to combat any problems that they may have. However, the current cooking laws don't extend to the children on social media, nor do they protect the mental and emotional well-being of the children.